Hello and welcome back to Partick Hill Station. I'm Charlie. So today we're going back into Model Railway Enthusiast magazine, and today specifically we'll be in the October 1998 and the April 1998 edition. And we'll certainly find some interesting facts and examples of British Railway modelling. So let's go. So let's begin with the October 1998 edition. And the highlights they've got here is the Felsham Road layout of the month, Linton and Barnstable Railway, and the Terrier track test. So let's just see what it's all about. And notice this was £2 10 pence or $7.50. And you know, you've got the usual listing, Southampton Model Centre. Really interesting to have a look at some of these prices. They've got the obsolete Hornby locomotives, the R033 BR Morning Star, £75. Now, I don't know if that was a good price or not. Anyway, let's see what else is in here. So some news and club notices, and the plaque to mark the site of world speed record, and more vintage vehicles on the way from the original Budgie, Moorstone and Modern Products tools. And it was just announced by Graham Ward. Some nice 00 Lima HSTs, some Corgi classics, some nice wagons here, for coat wagons, and the Hornby GN ER Mark IVs, nice colours on those coaches. And more vintage vehicles to fill the gap. And specifically these look like post office vehicles. Some revised Southern Region coaches, and in N they've got new loco from Graham Farish. A Lima Green 40. I might be getting one of these from a friend. I'll have to wait and see. And there's a Lima 747. The sleeping car. Might not be this specific one, but I have a couple of these. And there's more of the Mark 1s in the green from Hornby. Once again, 10 Commandments for accessories. Puffers at York. Just be interesting to know if these are all still operating. Wool Station, Mid Sussex models. And now we're into letters from the editor. And you know, I read this one about dummy locos, and you know, the suggestion to the manufacturer just to not place a motor in some of them and sell them a bit cheaper. But the author, Greg Heathcliff from Swindon, goes on to say the classes 20, 25, 27, 31, 37 and the 42, 43 were all regular multiple workers in trios, sometimes in the case of the 37s. And while model trains are unlikely to require two locomotives for weight or gradient reasons, they may do so for aesthetic purposes. There you go. So you use that as a guide when you want to double head. And some tinplate topics, if you're interested in that. LMS and LNER locomotives. And here are the Airfix GMR wagon series here. Some real nice models. Now, I don't have any of these in particular. I may have this LMS brake livery. I'm not sure, but they're definitely nice models. And the Nestle milk and the tanker. Now, I have a few tankers downstairs. I don't think I have one, but I have similar ones. And there's the Conflat, and there's an interesting Express Dairy Company English eggs. Haven't seen that one before. And there's wagons in context, and this time in this edition it's a 13-ton steel high goods wagon. It costs £3, 2 shillings and 10 pence, less per wagon to build compared with the traditional timber wagons, but it was unsuitable for certain loads, including foodstuffs. Now there you go. If you want to build a waterfall into your layout, it's a good example. Lots of detail in the text there, and some methods that you could use. Now this one is 7mm. Great detailing on the figures, and end to end, as you can see. Be kind of difficult to get a larger layout and have, you need a bigger room, let's say. Totally trains. Yeah, it'd be interesting to do a price comparison with these. Here's a book on model railway illumination. And more stores carrying control panels, specialised wagons and locos. Marshall Stewart, that's a name I never heard of. Maybe some of you have come across him. And here we have a layout with examples of how to build in a tunnel portal, and in this case a deserted one, and it gives you details on how structures were made and figures. Trees and bushes, telegraph poles and fences would make interesting reading. And here's an interesting section on the end of the line, where a disused end of line, and how you can bring some realism to it by adding in additional materials. In some of these cases they've suggested sleepers, and then the buffer stop. And in this one here, I found this interesting. This one was at Henley-on-Thames. It'd be interesting if somebody in the area would go down and look at this, and they've added in some lights on top of the buffer beam. Now that would be interesting to have on your layout. And then here's a great idea for sort of longer grass. Get a piece of rope, change a colour on it, and then cut it up and glue the bottom of it. And here's an introduction to Lilliput. Now, I mentioned the other day about Lilliput and their wheels. My understanding that they had been bought by a German company, but that may not be true. It's just that they made it difficult to find wheels, and the price had jumped substantially at the time when I was looking for a specific size wheel for my car transporters to do that conversion. It was originally done by Chams 123. And here's a journey, whether you can take it now from Barnstable up to Linton and Lynmouth. Nice viaduct there. And here's some of the models that are available for that in 009 and 16.5 scale. Garden Railway. Once again, Ambrico. I've still never come across any of these. What's your opinion on them? Were they good models? But I think they were O-gauge, but I thought they had also, they did produce 00 in 1960. So does anybody have any of these? And here's a light railway. If you're interested in that, see Budget Model Railways, who get nominated also for the Hornby Magazine Railway of the Year award. Doug and Mike were going to be building a line for a light railway, I think. And here's the Terrier Tank. Now I'm showing you this one because I've seen a few of them on your layouts recently, and specifically Buckland Junction. Alan's got a few of them, and this is details of a 200-hour test of the Hornby issued in 1998, sorry, and they go through the whole process of 16 hours, 120, 150, and etc. And you know, the extras that came with it, and the hauling power, which you might be interested in reading and doing a comparison with the new ones that you've got now. So if you want a copy of this article, just let me know, or you can maybe view it online. So once again, tanks for the memory. These are great looking tanks. I know I've got a few tanks or tankers, whatever plural, singular description you want to use. I've got them of different makes, different manufacturers, and they're really very good and look great when you've got a number of them in a rake. And see here, there's an article on the Never Wases. Now, I looked once or twice at these auctions, and it appeared that, you know, if you make the right offer, you can actually get some great deals in a lot. I never never won any, and probably never really got the hang of how much things were worth or what they would actually sell for, but interesting stuff. And there's all the swap meets that were going on that year. Nice little sort of diorama there, or the one end of a layout. Exhibition diary. For sale and wanted. And in the retail directory, as I say, how many of these stores are still open? I've been to Painton. I was in Painton, I think it was 1967, giving away my age now. Anyway, that is October 1998 Model Railway Enthusiast. Let's move on to the April, go back in time to the April 1998 edition. And before we move on to the April 1998 edition of the Model Railway Enthusiast, I just want to show you a couple of wagons that I've got. And this one here, the cement marketing company Blue Circle Products. It's a Triang product, and the R number doesn't appear to be on here, which is unusual, but I have a few of these. I'll need to look up and see when they were made, when they were issued. It's got the solid plastic axles, the round ones. Now, this is the Airfix or Dapol kit, a nice little model. I found these in a number of years back in a model railway show. You know, a few things wrong with it. It's missing a bumper, and the owner had made this hook out of a piece of wire, and there's a pin at this end. Now, it works quite well. It's a bit fidgety trying to hook them up, but it does work quite well. And you know, one is it's got a metal, they're metal wheels. Excuse me. And these ones are plastic and a bit chipped. They could do with getting new wheels. But it's a nice little model, and if you remember, I have that Blue Circle Cement Works, the building, and I was thinking of having a rake of these come in through the building. And then this nice product from Lima. And it's Flow something, can't remember the name of it, but it's got some nice transfers on it. Difficult to read, but they obviously say something, and I don't think there's anything rude down there. And it's got metal wheels, and you know, they run quite well too. And here's the BP tanker. Now, if we just go back a little bit, let's have a look, see if I can find that one. Well, I know it showed up in one of the magazines, I'm not sure which one, but it's a nice model. There's no manufacturer's name on it, and it's got these different couplings. It might be a Dapol product, not sure, but it's got a nice weight about it. It's nicely detailed. It's got a metal bar, tie bar, keeping it in there. It's complete with the access door and the ladders on each side, and the undercarriage is still in perfect condition, so that is a nice model. Anyway, back to April 1998, and it was $6.95. So once again, the same format. Southampton Model Centre, obviously a big customer. New models from Lima. They all look very nice. I don't have any of those. And then we've got more Hornby HSTs for the Midland Main Line. Witherslack Hall from Bachmann. Nice little mini craft vice. And the VGAs, was it Clive that's got some of those?